Washington, Warsaw, Moscow, Managua, Beirut, Bangkok, Cape Town, Cairo, London, Lima, Paris. NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Tuned into the world.
For over 12 years, the Sound Centers have specialized in Sony because Sony is the best. And the Sound Centers offer knowledgeable help in choosing from over 500 Sony products. Here's just one, a 13-inch Sony with remote, $299. Or a big 27-inch Trinitron with remote, $699. Here's a Sony camcorder, remarkable, and just $699. Expert help with the best selection and the lowest Sony price. Get it all at the Sound Centers.
Z-Bart asks, can your new car dealer pass the truth and rust test?
Do you have genuine Z-Bart rust protection?
Sure, it's Z-Bart. It's just like... It's ours.
Z-Bart uses 2 gallons of sealant. Do you?
2. 1.
Does your warranty cover the whole car like Z-Bart?
The whole...
If your dealer doesn't have Z-Bart rust protection, say...
I'll take it to Z-Bart.
Go Z-Bart, the car improvement specialist.
Save $100 on the Z-Bart Gold Shield Protection Package now.
John Bachman on News 11 Sunrise.
This is Mrs. Frost, sixth grade class at Jefferson School in Blaine.
Good morning, 11 Country.
Now, the Twin Cities' fastest-growing television news, News 11 Sunrise, with John Bachman, Amy Powell, Steve Carroll on sports, and the weather with Roy Finden.
Good morning. It's Thursday, April 16th, a very foggy morning.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
Let me check the temperature so I have something to say here. 42 degrees. And it is foggy. No joke about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah, scary driving into work.
Roy Finden with us this morning. Hi, Roy.
Good morning. Yes, right. Boy, there are areas here in eastern Minnesota, visibility down to 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, an eighth of a mile is reported out at the airport. Possibly have some delays out there. Certainly some delays in your driving this morning because it is dense in a lot of places. Later on today, it looks mighty promising. We'll talk about that in a bit.
All righty, more details later. Thanks, Roy. Topping Sunrise. The deadline for income tax returns came at midnight. The rush is over at least until next April 15th.
For some, getting those important envelopes in by midnight meant some last-minute legwork. News 11's Carolyn Marinan was at one of the drop-off points and tells us it was a race against time.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
They came on foot, by bike, and by car to make the all-important handoff. You could say the Minneapolis Post Office sort of has its own drive-up teller service for tax returns once a year. This was a real race against time for some, and as the bewitching hour drew near, there were still people inside trying to beat the clock.
Is it still open? Yep. Are you still in? Hello?
For those who got their taxes done early this year, the question might be, why in the world would anyone put themselves through such last-minute agony?
I'm a procrastinator. I am not interested in doing my taxes.
Well, it's just hard to get everything organized.
Some made it with only seconds to spare.
We're closed. Sorry.
And others ran out of luck. The returns streamed in, and in little more than 12 hours, almost 1.5 million pieces of mail were sorted and sent on their way. They're not kidding when they say last minute. More than 55% of all this mail is income tax returns. And to top it off, there's another rush going on, Easter greeting cards. This is the bunch that didn't make the deadline. The stamp on these will say April 16th. Congratulations on the gallant effort, and better luck next year. For Sunrise, Carolyn Marinan, News 11, Minneapolis.
Those who waited until the last minute to mail the returns can expect to get their refunds around the 4th of July.
Out at the Minnesota Zoo, the beluga exhibit will be closed soon. An infection in bigmouth has prompted officials to ship him for treatment. In a few days, bigmouth and little girl will be packed up in crates and flown to San Diego, where marine experts will examine bigmouth's infection. The huge mammal suffers from osteomyelitis, an acute bone affection that could kill him. Officials say that their last hope is to send him to SeaWorld.
We will send him to SeaWorld, where they will do their own diagnostic work and they will determine whether or not there's any treatment available. No one here, though, is holding out for a miracle cure. In our opinion, the prognosis is poor.
The belugas have been a part of the Minnesota Zoo for nearly 10 years. The zoo board will decide in June whether to continue the beluga exhibit.
Charges may be filed today against 3 people in connection with some stolen guns. 2 men and a woman were arrested after police searched a house on 15th Avenue in South Minneapolis. Police found an empty gun case inside. Police say they were looking for a dozen handguns that were taken in a burglary in Buffalo. The suspects are being held for possession of drugs and a gun without a permit. A St. Paul man faces charges of sexual abuse this morning. David Price turned himself in to police after he allegedly abused 2 children at a daycare center. He has been charged with 1 count of criminal sexual misconduct. He has also been ordered to stay away from the daycare center. He will appear in court again sometime this month. Serious crime in Minneapolis increased 15% during the first 3 months of this year. Statistics just released show that compared to last year, serious crime in March alone was 26% higher than last March. St. Paul's crime increase during January through March was about 7%, but St. Paul had a 5-fold jump in homicides.
The debate went well into the night at Regina High School in South Minneapolis, which is scheduled to shut down at the end of the school year. More than 500 people gathered at Regina High School last night to discuss ways to keep the school open. The Archdiocese is closing the school due to a declining enrollment and a growing budget deficit. The issue has parents asking questions.
It seems to me that all we've heard tonight is the question of finances. In other words, we're 65 students short of what we would have operated on before. Does that mean if there's no chance for those 65 students to come forward with tuition and keep the school open? It is said and done. If it's only a question of 65 students, why wasn't some publicity or whatever done ahead of time to recruit students rather than just close the school?
We spent 3 years looking for a high school for our daughter. I'm sorry. I am proud and happy with the choice we made. There is no alternative to Regina.
A proposal to operate Regina High as a private school apart from the Archdiocese was floated at the meeting. It's not known this morning whether another meeting will be scheduled. The threat of grass fires continues across Minnesota this morning. The DNR still reports that the entire state remains under watch conditions for grass fires. A watch means that grass fires can start easily and spread fast.
The first ocean vessel of the year is expected to arrive in Duluth today, opening the shipping season for saltwater vessels. The event will answer thousands of letters that poured into the Visitors Bureau Convention Center earlier this week. The letters contain guesses on when the Salty will arrive. The winner will receive a $5,000 weekend in the port city and a $1,000 shopping spree.
$5,000 will go a ways, too. That would be a great weekend.
It would go a ways in Golden Valley.
Or Shakopee.
Speaking of Golden Valley, where we are at News 11, we have Skyscan 11 and its nest on the rooftop to look at the fog this morning. And we'll take a look at that.
Probably can't see much.
Because that's exactly what we're expecting. We'll look together and see. Sure enough, it looks mighty murky out there.
Of course, sometimes a camera lens can see more than the human eye.
Wow, that was profound.
Why did you put that in? The temperature this morning is 42. It is foggy. There's some dense fog. Wind from the south at 3. The dew point is the same as the temperature, 42, so 100%. The relative humidity, the pressure is steady at 29.81. It's a widespread area of dense fog, and 100 to 300 feet is the visibility in some areas in eastern Minnesota, including around the Twin Cities. And there is fog all the way from eastern Minnesota all across Wisconsin this morning, so it's widespread. Any travel in that area is probably going to be slowed. We see it again. That's a third view, isn't it? This time from the satellite, these shaded areas where there is fog, and the fog and not clouds. So by later today, when the fog gets lifted, burned away, afternoon, boy, we are expecting sunshine, a temperature in the 70s, and along with that will come some fairly windy conditions this afternoon, so it's quite a change in the weather. This morning's forecast then includes the fog for the Twin Cities, and then sunshine this afternoon, a high from 70 to 74. Winds will be coming up from the northwest at 15 to 25 this afternoon. And then partly cloudy conditions tonight, a low from 42 to 47 with 5 to 10 mile-an-hour northwest winds. Tomorrow's picture is awfully nice, mostly sunny, 74 to 78 degrees, and westerly breeze at 5 to 15.
That could be summer. Yes, exactly. Okay, thanks, Roy.
Next on Sunrise, some early planning that'll make next year's tax time easier.
And one popular food is picking up more sales. We'll have those stories and more. Stay with us.
I'd like to show you why Kozlak's Royal Oak in suburban Shoreview is one of my favorite restaurants in all America.
They bake their own rolls and croissants. They make their own gourmet ice cream and sorbet. Every entree receives special, tender, loving care.
The atmosphere is exceptionally beautiful, yet Kozlak's Royal Oak is surprisingly affordable. See for yourself over lunch, dinner, or the fabulous Sunday New Orleans brunch.
At Kozlak's Royal Oak in suburban Shoreview.
Attention truck buyers, Saxon Ford has 87 F-150 4x4s for $1 down. That's right, bring in $1 and buy a brand new Ford 4x4. This is not a lease and these are not base models. These trucks are Saxon packed with all the extras, like AM/FM stereo, tinted glass, sport wheel covers, 2 fuel tanks and more. And now, F-150 4x4 is yours for just $1 down and $244 a month. Price even includes tax and license at the dealer where your dollar goes farther. Saxon Ford, now 30 years strong, St. Paul.
Gum disease. More than half of all adults have it. It even affects those in their 30s. Symptoms of gum disease include tender or bleeding gums, persistent bad breath, and loose teeth. If you have these symptoms, don't wait till it hurts. Come to Jonathan Dental for a checkup. There are more than a dozen Jonathan offices throughout the Twin Cities. Stop in for a free leaflet on gum disease. For the location of the Jonathan office nearest you, look in the yellow pages or call the connection 922-9000. Jonathan Dental, the caring professionals.
42 degrees, 10 minutes now past the hour. The Commerce Department reports American businesses plan to increase spending for expansion and modernization by almost 2% next year. And in Minneapolis, a multi-tower office complex is being proposed. One financial place will be located at the north end of the Nicollet Mall and would take 15 years to complete. It would cost at least $500 million.
In local business this morning, General Mills is preparing to do battle with Kellogg Company.
Tara King is here to tell us more about what's turning into a war over raisins?
That's it, and oatmeal. General Mills wants to start selling oatmeal Raisin Crisp later this month, but the Kellogg Company says no way. They want to block the move because Kellogg says the General Mills breakfast cereal name is too similar to its own Apple Raisin Crisp. The cereal giants will try to decide the issue in U.S. District Court today. On Wall Street, the stronger dollar and weaker gold prices are having an impact. They were the two main reasons for sharp gains on the stock market yesterday. The Dow soared nearly 30 points to close at 2282.95. Nearly 200 million shares traded hands. And gold in London opened this morning at $438.10 an ounce. That's down $5.65 from Wednesday's close. And the U.S. dollar was up against the Japanese yen in today's trading on the Tokyo Foreign Exchange Market, closing at 143.20 yen. That's up 1.35 yen from Wednesday's close. TV business in Eau Claire, Wisconsin is looking up. Menards Lumber Corporation has just signed on the air with its new shop-at-home satellite TV service, America's Value Network. For Menards, it's a multi-million-dollar gamble, and Eric Olson reports so far the gamble is paying off.
Kids will always enjoy.
There's a new television network on the air, and it's based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Takes no time at all, and there you see that mist.
For thousands of TV viewers, America's Value Network has taken the place of game shows and soap operas. Viewers are calling in and spending lots of money.
America's Value Network, may I help you?
AVN is the newest of several shop-at-home satellite stations, shooting its signal to 16 states via satellite. On-air salesmen push all kinds of products, housewares, furniture, even jewelry. The network's only been on the air a month and already has a steady following.
People not only like our variety, they like the value, they like the prices. It's very gratifying. We're just very pleased with it.
AVN isn't just taking orders for products. They've also been taking in lots of job applications. They've already hired 100 people, and if all goes as expected, there will be even more expansion this summer. Stay tuned. In Eau Claire, Eric Olson, News 11, the Wisconsin Bureau.
AVN's programs can be seen locally on several metro area cable systems. Sales of popcorn are growing. They've gone up nearly 92% in the past 5 years. And the Popcorn Institute says last year consumers spent $440 million to satisfy their taste buds with a low-calorie snack. The average American is reported to have eaten 46 quarts of popcorn in 1986, eating it at home, in the movies, and most any time of day. And why not during sunrise? Let's get them out
Do you
there.
have some? I smell it.
I do.
It smells wonderful, doesn't it?
This is like pizza. You can eat it any time of day. No, go ahead. I've already had some, of course.
You know, it is going to be kind of hard to read the news with this, though,
It could
won't
be a little rough
Maybe
there.
we'll wait during a break.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
Boy, that
Pierre.
does smell good, though, too.
Now that the income tax deadline has passed, many of the cherished deductions are now obsolete. The new tax reform laws have taken their toll on capital gains. Money reporter Steve Crowley says even so, it's not too early to take a look at next year.
Investing in stocks and real estate is important to Lee Harvath. His older son is only 2 years away from college, so Lee needs to make money on these investments to keep his college savings growing.
I would say probably 8 years ago, we targeted certain investments that we made and set those aside for a college education.
Last year, Lee sold off one of his investments, made $10,000 in capital gains type income. The reason he sold was simple. He wanted to make the tax reform deadline. 1986 was the last year to take advantage of the capital gains rules. And that's exactly what Lee did. Lee's profit is considered a long-term capital gain, since he held on to his investment more than 6 months. By selling before 1987, Lee was taxed on 40% of his profit, $4,000. He's in the 50% bracket, so he paid $2,000 tax on the $10,000 profit. That cut his tax bill on the college nest egg. If Lee had waited to sell this year, he'd be taxed on all of his gain at the new top rate of 28%, a full $2,800. In '88, when tax reform is in full bloom, he'd still have to pay on 100% of his gains. But the top rate would then be 33%. Uncle Sam's share, $3,300, a big difference. So, how do we stand if we lose money? Well, actually, we gain a little under tax reform. Say our stock takes a nosedive, or we end up dumping property that went down instead of up in value. '87 is really the best year to claim our loss. For 1986, our long-term capital losses were limited to 50%. We can claim only half the money we lost. In '87, with tax reform, we'll get back dollar for dollar, a good way to take the sting out of losing money. It doesn't matter when we sell and how much loss we can take, it's still $3,000 a year. And if we lose big, we can claim additional losses until we use up all our loss, up to the $3,000. The best part of capital gains is we don't have to claim anything until we sell our investments, so we control the timing. Uncle Sam doesn't care about the ups and downs until we sell out. I'm Steve Crowley with your Money Report.
Steve's address is Money Mailbag, Box 111, Minneapolis 55440.
Still to come this morning on Sunrise, the latest overnight developments in the arms talks.
How food prices are changing.
How a medical gimmick is fooling some people.
And highlights from Major League Baseball's first no-hitter of the year. Sunrise Sports is next.
Our buyer goofed. Our loss is your gain. 20% off manufacturer's suggested retail price. Bargains galore. You want it? We got it. Regularly $19.99. Now only $19.98. We're practically giving it away. We buy in value and pass the savings on to you. The boss is everything.
Knox. Our prices are driving our competition into the ground.
Save on items throughout the store during Knox Spring Sale. Like Olympic Weather Screen Stain and Wood Preservative, just $10.99 a gallon through April 25th.
Are you looking for low financing, cashback, or option packages when you buy your car? I'm Joe Sensor for Todd Chevrolet, where you can save thousands from a choice of hundreds. At Jeff Belzer's Todd Chevrolet, no matter what the program incentive is, you will find a large selection of cars, trucks, vans, and wagons. Jeff Belzer's Todd Chevrolet in Lakeville is just 15 minutes south of 494 in Cedar, or 5.5 minutes east of 35W and Highway 50. That's Todd Chevrolet. Call 469-4444.
I never thought it would happen to me. I mean, I started out listening to Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. Then I went to a Willie Nelson concert. And then I bought a Hank Williams Jr. tape. Me, the old rock and roller. I like country music. I like it a lot.
Discover the new country music on K102 FM.
Sunrise time is 6:18. More than 900 people wearing suits and ties hit the road to compete in the first Wall Street Rat Race. The Rat Race is a 2.5-mile run through New York's financial district. The race gave corporate types the chance to step out of the office for the day.
That had to be tough wearing those ties.
Suits and ties and jogging down the street, a little uncomfortable.
I was going to say, isn't it always a rat race in Wall Street?
Oh,
I don't know.
That was worth waiting for. A lot of exciting baseball being played these days.
I can see it towards October. Can you see it? Milwaukee and Minnesota.
Ooh, that would be great.
For the pennant.
For the pennant.
Yes.
Yes. How about those Milwaukee Brewers? They are the talk of baseball this morning. Not only because they are the sport's only unbeaten team, but because their latest victory was one for the record books. Left-hander Juan Nieves tossed a no-hitter as Milwaukee stunned Baltimore 7-zip. Look at all the goose eggs. It was the first no-hitter of the '87 season and first no-hitter in Milwaukee history. Let's check out some of the highlights. It was a cold, damp night in Baltimore, but 22-year-old left-hander Nieves walked 5 and struck out 7, including Floyd Rayford on this pitch. Now, time lost in the Milwaukee Shuffle is another hot baseball team, the Minnesota Twins. They are off to a great start, 7-2 on the year. They play their farm team in Portland tonight before opening a big weekend series at California tomorrow. Both the Twins and Angels go into that series off wins. Minnesota beat Oakland 5-2, while California shut out Seattle 4-zip. The first-place Twins lead the Angels by a game. Elsewhere in the American League now, Boston got by Texas 5-4. Chicago blanked the Blue Jays 5-4. Kansas City beat Detroit, and the Yankees topped Cleveland 4-3. Over in the National League, a big night for Houston's Mike Scott. The Cy Young Award winner fired a one-hitter to lead the Astros past Los Angeles. The final from L.A. was 4-zip. Other games, San Francisco beat San Diego. Pittsburgh over the Cubs in 10. The Mets defeated Philadelphia, and Atlanta downed the Reds by the score of 4-3. The Minnesota Strikers are a step closer to a playoff spot this morning. The hometown club knocked off the Sting in a key game in Chicago. The final was 7-5. The win increases the Strikers' lead over Chicago to a game and a half. The two teams battling for that final playoff spot in the Eastern Division. Sting led 2-1 in the first quarter when the Strikers got back in it. A great header by Steve Kinsey tied the game at 2-all. Check out the clear boards in Chicago. Looks a lot like the St. Paul Civic Center. It was tied 5-all then with 6 minutes to play when Tony Bono finally got the ball past the Chicago keeper. The Strikers go on to win it by the score of 7-5. And in some notes, Anchorage, Alaska, one of 6 cities that has submitted a bid to host the 1992 Winter Olympics. The winner will be announced in September of 1988. Already they're looking ahead.
Thrilling finish to that no-hitter.
Really a great catch to end it, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Today is Thursday, April 16th. On this day, 40 years ago, a Texas town ripped apart by explosions and fires.
More than 500 people were killed in the port town of Texas City. The fire began when a freighter carrying fertilizer exploded. The flaming debris started other blazes and caused another blast so powerful it blew a chemical plant off its foundation. Townspeople tried to fight the fire as it moved through the port. They returned from the fire line to find homes blown apart and the death toll climbing to 567.
Also on this day in history, one of the most trusted anchormen in America hit the airwaves. In 1962, Walter Cronkite made his debut on the CBS Evening News, succeeding Douglas, well, that's not very good, is it? Succeeding Douglas Edwards. And in 1935, the radio comedy program Fibber, McGee, and Molly premiered on NBC.
If you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. You share today with some famous people. Actor, director, author Peter Ustinov is 66 today. Basketball star Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is 40, and composer Henry Mancini is 63.
And here is Henry Mancini conducting the Minnesota Orchestra when he appeared in the Twin Cities back in January, sharing some of his favorites.
Mean Gene for Thane Hawkins Freeway Dodge in Bloomington. We're overstocked on new Dodge Caravans, and for 3 days only, we're slashing prices on every new Caravan in stock. That's right, we're overstocked on new Dodge Caravans. Save $1,300 on the exciting new V6 fuel-injected Dodge Caravan. You'll have to agree, it's an incredible offer. Save $1,300 on a new Dodge Caravan. Low prices, huge inventory, no money down. Where? Only at Thane Hawkins Freeway Dodge, 80th and Penn in Bloomington, where financing is as easy as the stump of approval.
For over 12 years, the Sound Centers have specialized in Sony because Sony is the best. And the Sound Centers offer knowledgeable help in choosing from over 500 Sony products. Here's just one, a 13-inch Sony with remote, $299. Or a big 27-inch Trinitron with remote, $6.99. Here's a Sony camcorder, remarkable, and just $6.99. Expert help with the best selection and the lowest Sony price. Get it all at the Sound Centers.
It's my water bedroom's giant waterbed sale. Look it over. It's an 8-page color flyer filled with great values on waterbeds, complete bedroom sets, and bedding. Like the Hickory Valley bedroom set, just $7.99 complete. Or the Trim Line, a mirrored headboard waterbed for just $149. Soft side waterbeds start at only $2.99. The prices in my 8-page flyer end this Monday at 9 p.m. If you haven't received a copy, stop into any water bedroom superstore and pick one up.
I guess you could say I had everything. I had a good job, beautiful house. I had a wonderful wife and 2 great kids. I also had a cocaine habit. First it cost me my job, then it cost me my house. And before I got help and stop, it cost me my family. I guess I'm lucky. I've still got my health.
Last year, Bill York began a new job and a new life because it's never too late for a new beginning.
Up to 44 degrees now. It's 6:25. Expect some major traffic tie-ups on some local bridges this morning. The Central Avenue Bridge at Broadway Street will be closed from today until mid-November. That's quite a delay. The recommended detours are Monroe and Johnson Streets and University Avenue. Also, there'll be delays southbound on the Lafayette Bridge. The right lane will be closed from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. for construction. And do allow some extra time this morning. You and I know, you know.
Yep. It's dangerous
It's a little
driving
dangerous out there.
Yes.
Foggy.
Yes, it is. Yesterday we had no sun because of the clouds. This morning we will not call it a sunny day because we have the fog. Graphically, statistically, April is one of the days when we have the least sunrise. The least sun, I should say. Same sunrises.
Yes,
yeah,
it's always a sunrise.
Nice to compare it with the balance of the year. Here we are. The number of a sunny day is sunrise to sunset. No quibbling. If you have sun all day long, you call it a sunny day. And in April, only an average of 6. And I suppose that goes together with April showers. Well, today won't be sunny because of the fog, which we can see if we switch over to our Sky Scan 11 that's looking out over the parking lot. And sure enough, it's foggy out there this morning. The sun will be coming up in just about a minute. It's 44 degrees. Wind is from the southwest at 7. This morning's dew point is at 44. The relative humidity is 100%. The pressure taken a little rise at 29.82 this morning. I just like to stand there and watch the fog. See, there it is. By golly, that's 100% relative humidity, and we all saw it together. It'll take you some extra time. Well, here's what's producing all of that. Residual moisture from this slow-moving system that has been in our weather for the first half of the week. Arriving today, a low-pressure area is skimming across the north, bringing along a little shift in the air for us. It'll be warming up by this afternoon. We should see a lot of sunshine, but it'll be a little windy along with that. This system that has clung to us for the early part of the week continues to cling to the people here in the east. Some places had 4 inches of rain since yesterday in North Carolina. There are some common flash flood watches and warnings for that area, and today they're expecting even more heavy rains, 1- and 2-inch rains in parts of the coastal areas, so they're watching that very carefully. And on top of that, there's a risk of severe weather down here for the Carolinas and Virginia for today as well. And that slow-moving system is going to stay in their picture for a long time. Here it is. Cloudiness there, which we had for the last several days, finally is getting out of our picture. Quick look over here to the west shows some cloudiness gathering. We're expecting that in our weekend weather, perhaps by Saturday night. Between now and then, a building in of clear skies and some really big rises in the temperature. We're expecting to see readings by Saturday that are very warm, very much above average. That's 80 degrees. Yes, right here in the Twin Cities, we're talking about an 80-degree reading and 70s over virtually all of Minnesota for Saturday. I want to just dwell on that for a second. By later today, fog gone, wind shift line. Wind will come around kind of gusty from the northwest, but we'll have sunshine, so the temperature will be mild. We're in the 70s. And the first